Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to coyssoutherneats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And everybody, welcome to the November 5th Sunday edition of the Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm your host, Jason Pattison. As you see, I have not changed the shirt yet. I am still wearing it from yesterday. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to take this off, but I'm going to use this as a good luck tool. Maybe this will help propel the Razorbacks to the final 3 wins of the season. I want to thank our sponsor, Coy Southern Eats, for all their dedication. Make sure to go check them out at coyssoutherneats.com, also on Amazon and Walmart.com. You go see all of their great products they have for your tailgate or for your barbecue, and go re-experience the magic of Coy's and come get you some. So, Otis, boy, that was a hell of a win yesterday.
Yeah, they needed it, Jason, in many ways for any reason you can think of. I could name a million, but I mean, they're all obvious. It's not like Captain Obvious here. I mean, like I know something you don't or anybody else doesn't know. Yeah. I mean, but one, it keeps them bowl eligible. 2, it breaks a 6-game skid. 3, it just feels good to win. 4, I could go on and on, but no. I tell you what's amazing though is for a team that people were really down on to do something in the swamp that's never been done.
Yep.
You think of like Bobby Petrino took a team down there. Other coaches have taken teams down there and they didn't win. And this team goes down there and wins. So, and they got beat pretty bad in 2020 down there too.
They did.
People say
that's a good team too.
A good team. Yeah. You should have said that before the game when you were blowing your mouth that Florida was going to kill Arkansas. If you're going to say Florida is not a very good team. Hey, Arkansas has played everybody's butt off this year with maybe the exception of A&M. Maybe. I mean, 12-point loss. I mean, that's the way when the 12-point loss is the worst loss you have all season. That's pretty good. I mean, everybody wanted Arkansas. And I said last week on here, I think it was on here, I said, hey, even if they win out, it's going to be 6-6. It's not going to be a season anybody wanted. I said, but what are you going to do? If they're 2-6, you're just going to sit down and say, well, let's just throw the towel in. Nobody's going. No person with pride and caring is going to do that. You're going to fight your ass off to win the next 4. You can't go back and do those 6 losses. But you don't have to surrender the next 4 just because of that. You can't worry about that. You got to take it 1 week at a time. They're 3-6. Auburn will have some film of guiding, which Florida didn't have. That was a big advantage for Arkansas yesterday. But they will have Auburn will have the benefit of seeing him, so it'll get tougher. But you're home. But I mean, they've already won one game in the SEC, which is more than anybody last week gave it. Well, not anybody, but a lot of people gave a chance to do.
Yeah.
But players,
I'll be honest with you.
Guy, and I told y'all, I've been saying all season that Dan Enos was the problem. Cody Kennedy didn't forget how to coach. KJ didn't forget how to football or run it. Rocket Sanders didn't forget how to play running back. Everybody looked bad on offense. And it wasn't them. It was Dan Enos was the issue. And, yeah, Pittman would never admit it, but he took a shot at Enos yesterday. But I have inside that he was 100% correct. He said we something to the extent that we called the plays. We ran the plays today that we practiced all week. My understanding, and I've got a good source on this, has been that Pittman has talked to Enos over and over and over about do not have so many drop about what he wanted to do on game day, and they have practiced it. But then comes game day, Enos reverts right back to what he wants to do, all the dropbacks, this and that, and that Sam had enough. And I've got a very good source on that. And like I said, Sam took a shot at him. He wouldn't admit that, but he did, and it was absolutely deserved. And I've never been personal about Enos. I said I didn't think he was a good hire when Sam made him. I said I didn't think he was a good coach. He got fired at Miami. But I've never gotten personal. But I'm just saying, from what I understand, that was justified yesterday. I just don't think he was a very good offensive coordinator, Jason. I don't think the players thought that. It was obvious yesterday that the players played for Kenny harder than they ever played for Kenny than they ever played for Enos. That a blind man could see that yesterday. So I mean, that speaks for itself right there.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like too there's more game film on Kenny's style on what they ran yesterday from the last 2 years. Because whenever I saw that offense running, I thought that Kendall Briles was back on the sideline.
I mean, it's not like it wasn't like they were doing things that probably Florida didn't expect. I mean, it wasn't like it was all trick plays yesterday. They had the pass from to the, they had to, because he was a quarterback in high school. And so they used that receiver around pass, but if you remember, that was a Briles play that he used in the Outback Bowl. It was intercepted, but he had that quarterback, the one that was from Florida State, I believe, threw an interception on there. But Isaac threw the pass. I've been wondering if they were going to run that play because he was a high school quarterback. But other than that, it wasn't like there was a bunch of trick plays. It was just basic plays, like you said, that we've seen since Kendall Briles came to Arkansas, And what they did, they even took some of Enos' stuff. They took the plays that had worked in the past. And that's why I think I said on this show last Sunday, it wasn't just going to be the plays from this season. It was going to be the plays that they've had success with KJ since 2021, maybe even back to the Missouri game in 2020 when he came in. Felipe got hurt, couldn't play at Missouri. Ribs, I believe, but they were going to take the plays that KJ could run, and they worked on it, and they ran plays that they'd had success with. Not all of them were successful yesterday, but it was a completely different showing. 481, 484 yards of total offense. I don't know where I wrote that down at, but as usual, I write something. I forget where I put it.
It was 481. It was
481 yards of total offense yesterday. 255 passing for KJ, 92 rushing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That last touchdown pass was huge, man. Man, that was a great catch by Broden. It was a little low, and he went down. It was thrown where it was either going to be Broden get it or nobody get it. It wasn't going to be high and knocked up in the air and intercepted. And KJ had the biggest thing was Rocket had 103 yards yesterday, Jason. They haven't had
that was the most rushing yards he's had all season.
Well, yeah, it was more. I think it was more in one game than he had combined up to that point.
The entire season so far.
Game that he's played, if I'm not mistaken, he played 3 previous and didn't have that many yards. No, but the line block for him that they hadn't been doing, and like I said, too much was put on Cody Kennedy and KJ Jefferson particularly, And people saying that Rocky quit. He didn't quit on anybody. He was hurt. But those guys didn't want to play for Enos, Jason. They simply didn't want to play for Enos. And so it's not always simple. I mean, I had enough of the last place I worked. I called Lanny and I said, man, have you got anything? I mean, can you create something? I had enough. Sometimes you just get enough of people and you just say, I'm out, you know? And the wheels went in motion long before they ever replaced me there and moved me to a national guy. I mean, but we had to go through some paperwork and detail, but I'd had enough. I mean, I no matter, you know, I just had enough. And when you have enough of somebody, no matter, and sports writing, coaching, business, playing, when you have enough of somebody, you had enough. And, you know, so it's not quitting. It's just, you got to take care of yourself in this world, because if you don't, I can guarantee you nobody else will take care of you.
Yep. I've said that a lot. Now, yesterday, what I like to see from KJ was that he was spreading the wealth around. He had 8 different receivers yesterday. You also had AJ Green that got 10 touches. He took the first snap at quarterback. And I don't want to look into it too much, but for me, that was almost like saying, hey, you know what? This is something we should have been doing in the first place, getting AJ more into the offense. We're going to let you take the quarterback snap because you haven't been getting the love anyway. And I almost kind of took that as them giving a little bit of a middle finger to Eno, saying, hey, we should have been doing this from the beginning. And this is what we think of you now, because you weren't working, but this will work. And they proved it yesterday.
Yeah, see, I didn't even see that play. I was dealing with computer issues. When I got onto the game finally, KJ was throwing to AJ for a touchdown. That's when I actually No, I'll take it back. Didn't Ty Washington get hurt on that drive?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he got hurt. Does he have a broken clavicle by chance?
I don't know what happened to him, but that's when I actually saw the play. Is when the pass were. I think he caught one before that, and he caught one, and he got hurt, and then so that's when I actually started. I was dealing with laptop issues that I started on Kane Archer's story at 7:30 and got it up about 5 minutes before the game started, the Razorback game. I dealt with that all morning. It was a pain in the rear.
So the first play that Ty Washington had, it was really weird. So they snapped it to AJ. AJ handed it to KJ. And then KJ went around to the right side and then found Washington in the flat and got a couple of yards off of that. And then the Tesla throw to Washington where he got hurt, I think is which play that was. Then I could be completely wrong on that, but I'm fairly confident.
Anyway, I was so frustrated at that point. I just remember the first play I really remember well is the one where KJ threw to a wide open AJ Green. I mean, wide open AJ Green.
Yeah,
yeah. There was some trickery, but for the most part, though, as you said, they had film. I mean, all they had to do was look at what Browse had done, and it was pretty much very similar to that. I like the way Guyton called it, though. He didn't do the goofy stuff that Kendall did. What I mean by that is what I said when Kendall was here. People would say he sucked, and I said, no, he doesn't suck. He's a very good offensive coordinator, but he would have something working, and he would just call a tight end sneak or something. You're crazy. Dominic Johnson is running it down A&M's throats last year down in Dallas. And all of a sudden, he puts Malik Hornsby in there and gets completely away from Dominic and throwing it and running it with Malik, and it killed the drive. It just – Kendall drove me crazy with stuff like that. And that's what – I didn't see that yesterday with Kenny Guyton. And I love the tempo offense. Look, man, I hope Sam can win this thing out, give him another bowl win, and I hope he makes Guyton the offensive coordinator. I love Guyton. Yeah. He has helped me on a deal I've told you about off the record before, and he's a good guy, man, a good dude. I like to see good things happen to good people, you know. And I mean, you know, and I don't like to see anybody get fired. But Eno should have never been hired, so I can't feel sorry for him. And besides that, coaches are different. I mean, the guy gets fired. He's got 4 games this year and 2 years. He's got 28 games left on his contract. I mean, for a few million, So, I mean, it's not like he's hard up, I mean, he's sitting pretty good financially. And I've seen people lose their jobs that didn't get 2 million to separate or 3. But anyway, I hope that Arkansas continues to have success for the obvious reasons. I mean, it's just good for the kids. I know they've worked hard. You and I were out there at the first practice this year, and we've been here and there. I can't go on Mondays because I have a commitment to do another podcast, but that I do for someone else. But so I haven't been to practice in a while. But I went to most of the preseason practices. Probably missed 1 or 2. But yeah, it's fun to watch this team have fun. I'm glad they're back home now. Because I wasn't at the last game, the Mississippi State game, and I wasn't at that. And now I'll get a chance to, I think that that was the first game I've been to in person since Dallas, I guess.
Yep. The defense yesterday.
Dallas. I went to Dallas, and I don't think there was anything wrong with the defense. I mean, they gave up some points. When you run tempo, though, you're going to give up a few more points. I mean, they're going to be on the field more. I think one thing that happened with the defense is Hudson Clark started out at the hog, and Garrett Wilson exposed him there. They moved Hudson back to safety, moved
Snacks in
corner to hog, and then put Dwight McLaughlin, which I never understood why he's not starting anyway, into the game at corner. And so I think that pretty well ended most of that. They had that one drive there late where they went it's like 72 yards in 3 plays or something, there at the end, when they took the lead there, before Kim kicked that 49-yard field goal. That's when the defense really broke down. But that series and the first 2 where Garrett Wilson kind of got to Hudson. But other than that, I thought the defense played good. I mean, they got another touchdown. They scored a touchdown. You're going to give up some points in the SEC. You're just going to give up points. I mean, look around the country. Everybody's giving up points. I mean, they're just giving up points. That might have been the most points they've allowed this year, but I mean, it's just part of it. When you run tempo, you're going to put the defense out there more. But the defense is giving them a chance to win every game this year. The one time they really let Arkansas down, if you want to say the defense let Arkansas down, you point to the second half of the LSU game. Other than that, they played winning football all year long, including yesterday. That was the one
quarter that they've been out.
The last drive of the first half of LSU, from that point forward from the last drive of the first half forward to the second half, they got exposed. But other than that, they didn't play well. But
I want to give a big
drive hurt that 3 plays, but it happens, man. I mean, it's not like Florida's void of talent. I mean, I don't think they're as bad as they look under Napier. So, I mean, and bad things happen. I mean, you have game. I mean, that's the same Florida. People say they're not any good. That's the same Florida beat Tennessee down there in the swamp. They beat Tennessee in the swamp. They were undefeated in the swamp, Jason. They lost some games.
5-0
in the swamps. In the swamp, they were undefeated, not the swamps. The swamp, and they beat Tennessee down there. So, I mean, I don't want to hear this crap about that. And like I said, most of these people saying Tennessee, Florida's not any good are the same people running their mouth about how bad they were going to beat Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say
I want to give a big shout out to
you want to say Florida, you and John James picked Arkansas to win. The rest of us have no business opening our damn mouths. I mean, you and John picked Arkansas to win. The rest of us and fans out there, unless they you don't have a damn right to do that. I mean, because I picked Florida to win. It didn't surprise me that Arkansas won, but it's just hard to keep picking a team. I picked them at A&M.
Yep.
Which I don't know why I did that because they never beat A&M, but yesterday made more sense than that. But it's just they've never wanted the swamp. But I had a feeling, though, they were going to replay their – I felt like what was going to happen yesterday, Jason, it was going to be an all-or-nothing deal. They would give their best effort, and if they lost, wondered if they'd let go of the rope. I don't think they would have, but you wonder. And I still don't know if they would have. No bowl eligibility, and you go down there and you lose another – if that 44-yard field goal, I believe it was, by the kicker, had that been good, Arkansas would have lost. it would have been hard to get up again when you lost all these 3 and 7 point losses, but they didn't lose. And once it went to overtime, especially once the defense stopped them and forced a field goal, you knew then. I just knew Arkansas was going to win. I felt like, if nothing else, KJ was just going to run it, and they couldn't stop him 4 times there at the 4-yard line. I just felt like, Rocky got it to the 4, and I believe KJ ran 10 yards. I've got it written down here, but I think KJ ran 10 yards to 15. Yeah. Then Rocky runs 11 to the 4. I just felt like no way on this guy's green earth they could stop Rocky and KJ for four times there. And,
and that's the thing, is that Arkansas had all the momentum. Whenever when they missed that kick, which, by the way, should never have been kicked in the first place, because there should have been a 10-second runoff, should have ended the game. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sure that's being taken.
Karma and ball don't lie speaks a lot of volumes there. Karma and ball don't lie. I mean, and I put that on Twitter. I mean, it just, it has a way of karma will bite you in the butt, man. I mean, I've seen it before, and I'm proud for the guys because they played their rears off this. And Sam said something yesterday, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he said something about, we're not a bad team. We've never been a bad team. We've had some bad luck, and bad coaching, he said, pointed to himself, which I don't know about that. But I'm just, and I'm not pointing a finger back. I'm just saying they've had some bad luck because they, people, look at Missouri. They went and played Georgia off their feet. So what? Arkansas played Alabama, LSU, everybody else off their feet down there, and they'll go with Barkees Gums and
Francis Sherman.
Sherman, and then the other kid, the tight end, the senior. I don't think you'll see Shamar. You may see the tight end from Warren that I wrote about this week. You may see him in there too. Shamar's not ready to play, guys. He's just not. I mean, I know he was the number 1 player in Arkansas, and he's a high 4-star, but he's not ready to play. He played every sport at Ashdown, and he's just not ready to contribute this year. Somewhere down the road, maybe in 2 years, he may be best one out there, but he's not ready this year. He's just not.
Now, I want to give a big shout out to Jalen Braxton, because you and I were sitting up in the press box that first game at War, and he was, lack there of a better term, he was getting torched. But he's a freshman, and he was doing the best he could out there, and it just wasn't happening for him. But now,
he was nervous too, man. That was his first college game. He was nervous.
Yeah. You fast forward to yesterday, he gets out there and he makes a really poised, upperclassman play where he goes back there. He sees a guy's starting to stall out a little bit. Then he takes the ball and rips it out, heads the other way. Now, by the way, that second one that he ripped out that did not get counted in the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, that should have counted.
Yeah, that was a fumble. That was a clear fumble. That was. Yeah, it was. I had more problem with that than I did even the field goal. I felt like that was just ridiculous that when ESPN announcers take the side of Arkansas and talk about what a bad call it was, it had to be pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
Let me go back real quick on the guy that just asked about the tight end. Barkees Gums, this kid I'd wanted to see play more this year anyway. I love tying a lot of loop, but I like Barkees. I thought he was pretty good. But Maddox Lassiter is the kid from Warren that played quarterback down at Warren. He's about 6'4", 238 pounds. And I asked Sam last week, not about him, but just about if there's anybody with these last 4 games that might get to see that hadn't played, because they can play these. And he mentioned Maddox Lassiter. He mentioned more special teams, but there's a kid that might get some action at tight end. And Sam did it. I asked Sam, is that a candidate to get a scholarship, at some point? And he said, yeah. This kid was a very good quarterback in high school, and he's a tight end. And, so they've got, so we'll see. But, he may be on there to play too.
The special teams yesterday, the first half weren't really special. I know that Max Fletcher had some problems. He had a couple of bad punts. Put Arkansas in a bad position there in the first quarter that really allowed Florida to get back into it. And
he did.
The thing is that I know that a lot of people were really, busted on Scott Fountain in the first of the game yesterday. But for them to go back and keep fighting, special teams again in the second half were special. You saw Cam Little out there doing his thing. And, with that 49-yard field goal, to tie it up. I thought that really said a lot because he didn't forget how to coach. It's just that he had Max had a couple of bad punts, and there were some breakdowns, I do believe, on coverage as well, because the Florida, they ended up. I've got to look that stat up, but they had quite a bit of return yards in the first half alone, because it seemed like every time that they were getting a kick from Arkansas, they were getting up the side, almost untouched. And I think that they had some breakdowns on that. But I'm sure that Fountain's going to be able to address that this week and get that thing fixed.
Yeah, he's a great coach. I don't know why people are down on him. I didn't see that because I don't have time to look at that crap. But he's a good coach. I mean, Arkansas, I remember when they couldn't get the kicker kick the ball in the end zone. Everybody wondered why Arkansas didn't have a kicker get in the end zone. Fletcher, Kim, I guess, has missed 2 field goals this year. Fletcher's had maybe 4 bad punts, 2 in the BYU game and 1 or 2 yesterday. That's about it. The rest of it, he kicked pretty well. But they had some coverage issues yesterday. They did. They did have some issues yesterday. And I think that will break down coverage against, I believe it was A&M. So,
I think we might see a little bit more Davion Dozier.
Yeah, I tell you, that's fine. The kid can play. He caught that touchdown pass. I want to see Isaiah Satana get more run at receiver. That's what I want to see. They gave him some yesterday, and he had 3 or 4 catches on that one drive. I'd like to see Isaiah, because you've got Jaden Wilson and the 3 transfers, but I'd like to see Isaiah be that jump in that top 5 too. I guess he's in the top 5. What I mean, I'd like to see him get a little bit more. You take Armstrong out, you wouldn't have him. But I mean, you've got. I think yesterday he was in the top 5, but if you take Armstrong out of the mix, that gets you down to 4. But I mean, Dozier could be that guy, Desmond James, but probably more Dozier. But I'd like to see Isaiah get more action at receiver than just punt and kickoff return. I know he got some yesterday. He's a guy that can make some. And people talk about lack of separation with receivers. He's a guy that can get some. Dozier's a good kid. I mean, he's a good player. He's going to be a good one for him. But it wouldn't hurt to see him get some run out there. Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
And Satania yesterday had 5 targets and 3 catches, but 3 of those targets were on one series. Really, actually, were on one half of the field.
Yeah, 4 of them were, because did he drop one and then catch 3 in a row?
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
I think he had 4 on that one drive, because he had, I don't know if he dropped it, but he had a chance to catch it. Maybe it got broke up. I just remember the play. He didn't catch it. But I know the reason I remember that, because I was thinking, oh, crap. Then KJ went right back to him, though. So that was because I'm thinking, because I want to sustain a play and hit receiver. And he didn't catch that one. Maybe, I don't know if he dropped it or broke it up. It was close. I don't remember exactly what happened on the play. I know he didn't catch, but I'm thinking, oh, crap, now they'll go away from him. But no, KJ went right back to him, went back to him 3 straight times just about. So that was good. And KJ didn't lose confidence in him, and the kid didn't lose confidence in himself. And because he's a good receiver. Isaiah's a good ball player, man. He's just a good ball player. Return man, wide receiver, could do some reverses stuff, but we got healthy. We're happy. He got more healthy.
Tony Brown. Yeah. So
he was hurt.
Antonio was battling some.
Even when he came out there in the first of the season, he had missed a lot of a lot of fall practice. He had missed a ton of fall practice. And he was way behind. Yeah, he didn't know the playbook like the others. He was new here, and he was hurt. So he's going to play more. And I think, too, he made that play against Kent State. I think they've seen, when you get these kids, you've got guys like Jaheim Thomas and Chris Paul Jr. that you really feel good about. I think some of these kids like Greer and Crook, some of them have to earn their coach's trust on that stuff. And I think Greer's earned their trust, Tony. I think he's played well. And, he wasn't playing. Part of that was injuries, though. A big part of it was injuries. I can't say that was all of it, but I know that was part of it. But he because nearly every time we'd go over in preseason, he was over there with the guys on the side working with the injured players. He just wasn't out there. And so I think it took a while for him to get Coach Williams' trust. I think that obviously when you get a pick 6, it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt at all.
You're getting trust with your coach. But I think not just the pick 6, but I think then he started making. I mean, Greer's Greer's a good ball player. He had a big game, I believe it was last year against Florida down there. I mean, that kid's a good ball player, and he fits right in. Jordan Crook's a good linebacker. They've got some linebackers. I love Chris Paul and Jaheim Thomas. I mean, they're the two best, obviously. And then, of course, you've got the freshman that had the pick six against Western Carolina. It seemed like that was 100 years ago. I think it was Western Carolina was the name. But, you know, back the first season, like I was about 20 seasons ago that we were in Little Rock, me and you and Drake and Dudley and John. But, but anyway.
You had 6 linebackers that played yesterday. You had Brad Spence that got time. You got Alex Sanford, freshman from Oxford. He got some time. Jordan Crook, Manny Powell got some reps yesterday. All of these guys, they had a stat in the stat book yesterday.
Yeah, some of those special teams, but those are good ball players. I mean, most of those guys you're naming are like Manny Powell and kid from Oxford and stuff. They're young players, so their time's coming. But their time's coming. And Crook, I love him. I mean, he stepped right into the Liberty Bowl. You know, Arkansas was missing 10, 15 players for that game. Kansas, I think, was missing 2 or 3. Well, they had a big advantage. You know, we've seen what Kansas can do this year. You know, they're ranked, and Arkansas beat them. And so that's why I've said all along, Cody Kennedy and these guys didn't forget how to coach from the Liberty Bowl. They beat a very good Kansas team because that's basically the team you're seeing out there this year. They got the quarterback back and stuff. And they had to beat the referees in that game, too. I'm not going to get on here usually and whine about the officiating, but that was awful with the Liberty
Bowl. That was crap.
It was pure awful. It was so bad that the NCAA came out and overturned one because they didn't want to see Quincy McAdoo set out the first half of the game because of a sorry, no good call, you know. And that was after they went to reviews. The receiver didn't fumble. He did not fumble. Matt Landers did not fumble that ball. His elbow was down. Just bad officiating that game. And they went to review and still missed it. Makes you wonder what's going on there.
So Tony,
before the game, was his grandmother's funeral.
Yes, he did not travel with the team yesterday. We put a tweet out about
grandmother, I believe, grandfather. I believe it's grandmother, but a funeral at a relative. I think it was grandmother, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been grandfather, but it was a funeral. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Rashad. He just had some bad news with a family member, you know.
Make sure also, y'all, to check out our Twitter before the game because I had put that out there on Twitter before the game that Dominion was out with his funeral for his grandmother.
Actually, I saw your tweet on that. I saw that. I was trying to deal. I didn't get a whole lot before the game. I was dealing with that laptop, but I did see your tweet on that. And it was grandmother, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it was.
Yeah, funeral and prayers for him.
We'll keep you informed, y'all. We'll always keep you informed right up to the game. If there's anything that does change, always check us out because we will make sure that you're up to
the
date.
Next 3 games because we're going to be over there 2 hours. As soon as they let us in that gate, 2 hours before kickoff, we'll be there from now on. And, barring me getting
Don't say that. Don't say it.
You get to where I can't walk again, I'll be there. But I might even get there anyway. I might get a motorized wheelchair, man. But no, I'm joking. I'll be there, and I know Jason Drake will be there, Dudley and John. So hopefully we're all there.
We'll be there live at post game as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys got the post game. We'll be at Dudley and I'll be at press conferences afterwards, and you guys will be doing the show afterward, and then John, of course, will be posting his pictures to us and whatever they call that now. It's not developing. You don't take film and develop them. That's the old days. Showing my age there, but no, John will be
touching them up for us.
Yeah, he'll be getting his pictures for us, and so taking some good. He sure got some good pictures. I will say this about John because he's kind of behind the scenes and doesn't get the publicity that we get. His Friday night down there at Greenwood, he took some excellent pictures, man, of Kane, Walker White, Cody Taylor, and Cash Archer. John got some outstanding pictures, not good ones, but outstanding pictures.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too as well. You know, you were down at Greenwood, for the with Little Rock Central,
Little Rock Christian
Greenwood game.
Yeah,
and you were telling me that you saw Walker White, we already know about him. We already know the tape on him. We know he's going to Auburn, all that mess. But then you also had on the other side of the ball, you had Kane Archer, which is just a sophomore at that. And he was down there. He was lighting it up last night. He was going toe for toe with Walker last night.
Well, yeah, he actually outplayed him if you want to get down to it. They both played great. But Kane was 8. Oh, that's my stats, and it might be 2 or 3 yards off one way or the other. These are unofficial stats. They're not Coach Young. These are mine. All I did was chart Kane and chart Walker, so they're close. He was 18 of 26, 285 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. It was a pick 6. Rushed 19 times for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's what I had on Kane. So, I mean, I was going to the field and missed Walker's last drive. At the time I quit counting on Walker, this would be up to the last drive they had. He had 253 yards passing, 1 touchdown, rushed for 3 touchdowns, threw 3 interceptions. But they're both good quarterbacks. They're both really good quarterbacks. It was a show. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Cash Archer put some pressure on Walker most of the night. And then Cody, Cody, by the way, was on my Pig Trail Nation segment today. Get a chance, watch that too later. But Cody's a good kid, but man, he's just a good ball player too. I mean, just a good ball player. And I'll say this about Kane. He's got 3 or 4 receivers. He's got a running back. He's got that offensive line. He's got a really good group around him to help make him successful. I mean, Kane is a great quarterback. Not a good one, but a great one. But he's also – that system Coach Young runs too. Coach Young's one of the best coaches in the country. And it was just a good time to go down there Friday night. I hadn't been to much high school this year, and went down and saw a great game and saw some great athletes out there on the field, and glad I went. I'll be going to another high school. I'm not going to say where, but I'll be going there in the next 10 to 15 days. It won't be to a game, I don't think. It will just be to a school. It's quite a ways away, but we'll have it after I'm there. I don't want to tell people where I'm going because I don't want others to know till I'm there.
Yeah. Gotcha. So right before the game yesterday, Arkansas received, well, I think they kind of already knew beforehand, but it came out yesterday that Courtney Crutchfield, wide receiver, had decommitted from the Razorbacks. And, you kind of starting to wonder. I know that him and Charlie Collins are cousins, and I don't know how that's going to affect the relationship with Charlie and Arkansas. But with Courtney decommitting, that I kind of was wondering if that was going to happen during the skid with the Razorbacks, and there wasn't as much, but it's starting to kind of come out that there are a couple here and there now.
Yeah, I was told 2 or 3 weeks ago that he was going to go to Missouri, and going to decommit. Bothered me the timing of that yesterday, not the fact that he decommitted. He's got the right to do what he wants. I don't know that you decommit 5 or 10 minutes before kickoff of the game. It bothered me with that timing, and I don't, it's not my place to judge, but that timing bothered me with that. And it did some other people. I've talked to other people. It bothered them. But, Courtney's a good kid. I found him when he was in 9th grade. Hit a 7-on-7 down in Benton, Arkansas, and fell in love with him, man. I thought he was just a great player. I mean, I've told the story where he caught passes, and then they were driving to be his team, and he gets on defense on 7-7 and intercept a pass, So Courtney's a great player. If Missouri gets him, which I think they will, then they're getting a great one, and he'll be good. Until he signs, I guess there's always a chance he can come back to Arkansas. We'll see, but I don't know what Charlie's going to do. If he leaves, I don't know. Everybody thinks it'd be LSU. I think Ole Miss is a team to watch. If Charlie does decommit, Ole Miss would be the team to watch there, not LSU necessarily. But hopefully that doesn't happen and we don't have to find out. But whatever. Those are 2 of the best players in the country, not just the state, but in the country. Yeah. But it happens, man. You lose players, you gain players. Missouri had another player decommit recently too. So, people always say, well, if you're losing, if you were winning. Well, no, Missouri had a player, I don't know if it was a wide receiver or defensive back, or I forget what it was. Maybe there was a player from committed to Missouri decommitted the other day too. It happens, man.
Yeah.
I mean, schools lose commitments, and it's just the day and age we're in. And you got to look at the high school ranks or go to the portal. One good thing about wide receivers, there's always a ton of them in the portal, man. Always a ton of them. And I'm talking about good ones in the transfer portal. That's one place you can always find you a receiver is go to the transfer portal. Arkansas got what? 3 there last year.
Yep.
Yeah, they got
Armstrong, Tesla, and
Broden. Yeah.
So
they got 3, and they got 4 if you count Marlon Crock at the walk-off. But they got 3 that have started very well. Armstrong and Isaac Tesla have been probably the 2 best receivers on the team. I'm talking about wide receiver. Yeah. And Broden, Jaden Wilson, Isaiah Satana kind of been that third man there, those 3, That's kind of been the top 5. And I guess
honestly, Tesla's he had a great game yesterday. He had 9 targets. He had 4 balls for 31
I targeted him more yesterday, and that was something Sam's been wanting to happen, and I don't think that Enos was on the same page with that. And, Isaac, he is and I've wondered all season if they were going to run that receiver around past him because he was a high school quarterback. Not a lot of people know that. Well, maybe a lot of people know it. I don't know. It's been put out there several times, not just by me, but others. He was a high school quarterback. But I wondered if we were going to see him throw the football any this year. So he put a pretty good pass out there out there yesterday. That was a pretty good pass he threw yesterday. It wasn't caught, if I remember right, but that was a pretty good pass. He put it in there, and it was catchable ball, very catchable ball. And so Dudley just tweeted that Arkansas is a 2.5 point favorite over Auburn this Saturday.
That tells you something, because that you actually led right into the next thing that I was wanting to talk about before we get off of here.
Well, you saw the tweet popped up from Dudley, and so I was going to mention that, give him credit for retweeting that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Auburn coming in, they have really been up and down this year. I know that Hugh Freeze doesn't have the team that he wants.
Right.
Once it's all said and done, they're going to look like what Liberty did last year when they came in and really kind of put the stop to Arkansas, even though KJ wasn't available. I still think that Hugh Freeze is going to be able to get some great talent with the money that they have at Auburn. But this year alone, I mean, this is one of those years that you're going to have to jump on them. They come into Razorback Stadium at 3:00 next Saturday. Arkansas is going to have to get on him quick, and put this thing out of reach because you don't want a Hugh Freeze team to linger around.
No, it's going to be a good game. And Auburn, as you said, this is the year to get them if you're going to get them, because with Hugh Freeze, they will get better. They're not going to be unbeatable, but they will get better. And this is the year. It's kind of like Sam's first year, where they went 3-7. They're very competitive in most of the games they lost. Not all of them, but most of them. They were pretty competitive, but they were. It wasn't near the team that he would have later on. Like in the next year when they went 9-4. So you want to jump on a team the first year, and especially at home. They've lost their last 2 home games. In fact, that's been the 2 most disappointing games of the season to me at BYU and Mississippi State. They're 3-6, and just if you'd have won those 2 games, you're setting it 5-3. Or no, I'm sorry, 5-4, I guess. But it'd be 5-4 if you lost.
Absolutely, different outlook there.
Yeah, so I mean that was really disappointing losses to Mississippi State and BYU. But anyway. Yesterday, one thing that impressed me yesterday, another thing that impressed me was the lack of penalties. They didn't have as many penalties, although when they had them, man, they hurt. Arkansas had some.
They did.
Wasn't the 14 they had against BYU, but man, they had some penalties that hurt at that time, And I don't know about some of those holding calls, because here's my deal with holding. You can call that on any play you want. The timing of some of those holding calls left me scratching my head a little bit,
That 3 penalties yesterday. That was it. 3.
Yeah, and they were costly. The ones that holding penalty, and I think maybe 2 of them were holding. I think they had I don't remember what the other one was, but regardless, I mean, I felt like that. They just,
when you're talking about erase a first down as well. That was the toughest part.
The what?
the one that you're referring to erased a first down, and that was one of the toughest parts.
Yeah, it did. It put them back. And like I said, it wasn't the penalty, it was the timing of the penalties that hurt them yesterday. AJ Green had a fumble. KJ had an interception. We don't need the 2 turnovers. They don't, but they overcame them. But
Arkansas had 3 fumbles yesterday, which was really uncharacteristic.
They didn't take care of Auburn. You set yourself up where you got a very winnable game. If you can get past Auburn, you're sitting at 4-6. You should get past Florida International. So then you're 5-6, Jason. And that sets up that last game against Missouri, man. I mean, that comes in and sets up a huge, huge game on Friday after Thanksgiving. God, that's going to be a big game, man.
That is.
If Arkansas beats Auburn and beats Florida International, they're going to be 5-6. They're going to be playing for a right to go to a bowl game and end the season on a 4-game winning streak. Like I said, I'm not, people can be miserable about it all they want to be. I'm not that way. I look at, they were 2-6. What nothing you can do about them 6 losses. Those are in the history book. Those are gone. Mm-hmm. But what you got to do, you should start with the Florida game and look forward. That's the way I look at things. If you disagree with that, don't bother messaging me because I don't want to hear the crowd. I don't care how you feel. I really don't. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I don't care how you feel.
That's why I put that in the crawl. I said if the Hogs went out,
if you disagree with it, I don't care if you disagree with me. Hell, I don't care if you like me or not. But I'm going to tell you how I think and what I feel, and that's the way it is. And it's not anything to do with, he's going to lose his pass. Yeah, right. I ain't worried about that. So I'm just going to tell you how I feel. You don't have to agree with it. Hell, there's times I don't agree with myself after I think about it 5 minutes later. But that's right. I mean,
we've all had that moment, my man. We've all had that moment.
I look at it and say, man, that was a dumb statement. But it's not a requirement for me to say something that everybody agrees with. Because first place, that's impossible. No matter what you say, not everybody's going to agree with it. But I mean, people message me with their crap about I think you're the problem or you're crazy. That's fine, man. I mean, but you got me mistaken for somebody cares what you think, people. You really do. You're just mistaken badly for if you think I care what you think about me. Or
make sure everybody tune in 3 p.m. on the SEC Network this coming Saturday. You got Hugh Freeze coming in. I'll have a Hogville special with AP Stedham. He has a podcast from AP and Kelly As We See It. He's a national syndicated writer as well. He covered Alabama for a number of years. He's been following Auburn pretty closely now for a while, for mostly this year. So we're going to have AP come on sometime this coming week. And I can't wait to catch up with him. The guy knows more about football in Alabama than he's forgot more than I ever know. And he's an incredible mind.
When is this, Jason?
AP Stedham.
No, when is it?
I don't know yet. I've got to hammer down the details with him, but that will be this week before Arkansas faces Auburn. So you all be sure to tune into that.
You bet.
But it's going to be a good one. And I got a couple more lined up here in the next couple of weeks as well. So be sure to be on the lookout. Make sure to also like and subscribe to the hogville.net YouTube live page. So whenever we go live, whenever there are new videos that are put out, there will be force notifications sent to your phone if you allow it. So that way you guys can catch all the great content that either myself, Otis, Dudley, Drake, Kevin, anybody puts out. You'll be able to get a notification at that moment so you guys can jump in and watch those. So be sure to like and subscribe to the page. So for Otis Kirk, myself, Jason Patterson, I want to say thank you guys to jumping on with us today. Dudley and I will be on at 4:30 this afternoon for the Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. And y'all take care, and we will see you later.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CoysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.